Let's go!
Hey everybody, Coach Scott here, and today I want to share a message with you, and I'm going to title this message, How God Can Take a Mess and Make a Message. That's right, He can take the mistakes in our lives and turn it into a masterpiece if we trust Him with the results and with the process. And I want to start off by sharing with you that my grandfather fought in World War II. And I went to see the movie Pearl Harbor the day it came out in the theater because I was so excited about hearing a little bit of that history and seeing it the day that it came out. But there's something about Pearl Harbor that I never knew that I found out recently. And it comes from a book entitled Reflections on Pearl Harbor by Admiral Chester Nimitz. That's right, some of you may remember his name. And the story goes like this. It was Sunday, December the 7th, 1941. Admiral Chester Nimitz was actually attending a concert in Washington, D.C., and he was paged over the loudspeaker to come to the phone. There was a phone call for him, and when he answered the phone, it was none other than President Franklin D. Roosevelt. That's right, Franklin D. Roosevelt. And what he told Admiral Nimitz on that day would forever change history. And he told Admiral Nimitz that he now would be the commander of the Pacific Fleet. And Admiral Nimitz then flew to Hawaii to assume the command of the Pacific Fleet. He landed at Pearl Harbor on Christmas Eve, 1941. And when he got there was such a spirit of despair and dejection and defeat. And you would have thought we'd have lost the war already and the Japanese would have won. But on Christmas Day, 1941, Admiral Nimitz was given a boat tour of the destruction of Pearl Harbor by the Japanese pilots. And all over the bay, there were these big sunken battleships and Navy vessels that were turned over, and the waters were cluttered everywhere. There was death in the water everywhere you look. And when he returned to the dock, a young sailor who was guiding the boat said, "Sir, what do you think after you see all this destruction?" And with great resolve in his voice, Admiral Nimitz said, "The Japanese made three of the biggest mistakes an attack force could ever make, or God was really protecting America." Shocked and surprised, as you might imagine, that young sailor asked him, "Sir, what do you mean the Japanese made the three biggest mistakes an attack force ever made?" And as the Admiral explained, here's how he chronicled it in his book. He said, "Mistake number one, the Japanese attacked on Sunday morning. On Sunday morning. And 9 out of every 10 crewmen of those ships were on shore on leave. If those same ships had been out to battle or out to sea when they'd been attacked, then we would have lost 38,000 men instead of 3,800. He said, "Mistake number two, when the Japanese saw all those battleships lined up in the row in Pearl Harbor, they got so carried away with sinking those battleships that they never once bombed our dry docks opposite of those ships. You see, if they had destroyed our dry docks, we would have had to tow every single one of those ships to America to be repaired. But as it is now, the ships are in shallow water, and they can be raised. And one little tugboat can pull them over to the dry docks. And we can have them repaired at sea by the time we could have towed one of them to America." And mistake number three. He said every drop of fuel in the Pacific Theater is in a ground storage tank 5 miles away. One plane could have bombed those tanks and destroyed our entire fuel supply. And he said, that's why I say the Japanese made three of the biggest mistakes an attack force could ever make, or God was protecting America. But however you look at it, this is my message. Admiral Nimitz was able to see something positive. He was able to see a silver lining in a situation and circumstance where everyone else saw only death, despair, and defeat. And I'll say this, President Roosevelt, he chose the right man for the right job at the right time. And I believe God knew that the American people needed a leader that could see the silver lining even in the crosswinds of hopelessness. 3 mistakes that the Japanese made, that Admiral Nimitz used to turn the tide in the war. And I believe in the same way that God can take the mistakes in our lives and turn a mess into a message. And so however this message hits you and however you resonate, or however God wants to use this message in your life, I believe that God is stirring up some people right now to do something, to take a stand, to be counted, to be a leader, to take care of your health, to take care of your families, to take care of your children, your businesses, have an impact on your community. You can only do that, though, is if you will release your history, even the mistakes, even the setbacks, even the disappointments. Release your history so it doesn't choke the life out of your future. And if you'll do that, I believe and declare that you will and can be all that God has created you to be. So God bless you guys. Take care. I'll see you on the next video.